Online. All systems nominal.
Welcome once again to another episode of the Amazing Life Show. How's it going, guys? I hope everyone's doing okay. It is still in the circuit breaker of Singapore. For Singapore, we are still stuck in phase 2. I'm not sure about our friends up north in Malaysia, but I hope everyone's doing okay. The pandemic is really taking its toll on the planet Earth right now. Everyone is suffering, but we can do our best to make sure everyone is doing all right at home. So anyway, thank you once again for joining me on the Amazing Life Show. We are always on air every Tuesday evening at 8 p.m. as well on Saturday at every 5 p.m. just like what Friday has shared earlier on my schedule in the chat window if you have not checked it out yet. So anyway, just want to give you a shout out to some of the folks who are tuning in right now. We have Wesley in the house. We have another TT viewer, Kishinton and Ping Otio. Thank you for joining us this evening. We hope to see more people streaming in. No pun intended. But I think more people will be joining us soon. If you guys can, please share this channel with your followers on Facebook, Twitter, any of your social media channels really. We'll love to see more people join us later on. So while waiting for the rest of them to come and join us, I'm just going to do a little bit of a shout out as always with regards to my own social media channels and things like that. And of course, hey, good evening Wesley, thank you for joining us. And of course, I just want to share with you guys a little bit about what the Amazing Life Show is all about. So a lot of people have been asking me this, why did I start live streaming? So basically I started streaming in March 2020. That's just a week into when the pandemic actually hit Singapore. So you know, being a photographer myself, I'm not able to go out and shoot so much anymore, so I just decided to like lock myself up in my man cave and start streaming basically. But the idea behind the show is really to connect with a lot of photographers, and that's what we've been doing all this while, twice a week, 2 hours per episode. And I'm very delighted to share that we've already hit episode 43 today. So can you imagine that, right? We have so many guest speakers who join us from all over the world. Tonight we're gonna have Shekar from Malaysia, you know, and that's gonna be really awesome. And it's always a good thing to have a sharing session like this, because you know, photographers who are stuck at home, they can watch it from the comfort of their home, from the safety of their home, and be inspired by other photographers as well. And this is something that was primarily the aim behind the Amazing Life Show, and still is, by the way. So that's pretty much it for the show. And of course, you know, this is a personal project of mine, so I'll really be most appreciative if you guys show support for the channel by following or subscribing. Okay, so this is my website. I'm gonna get Friday to share my socials here as well.
Satellite link established.
There we go. Alright, so basically this is my personal website, or my art portfolio, or my photography portfolio rather. There are personal projects here, there are client projects here as well, so you guys can take a look at what I have in store for you guys. I will not share anything in detail here, I just want to just glimpse through, but the most important thing is that I have a blog here which I have neglected for quite some time now. I haven't been writing, I have no time to write, but I promise you I will start writing again. But if you guys want to, you can check out my blog. Do take a look at some of the things I already have up, you know, my articles and things like that. I do have reviews, product reviews, like some of the things that I use for my own photography work as well as for my streaming. Alright, and I do share some tips and tricks on photography here and there, and I do share some of the latest updates with regards to the Amazing Life Show, as well as some workshops. Okay, now workshops not happening anytime soon yet, but hopefully when this pandemic is over, I can start doing my workshops all over Asia once again, just like how it was before. And I hope to meet up with you guys again, because you know, meeting people in real life, it's so much more different than meeting people in the virtual realm. Okay, so this is my Facebook page. I do have latest updates posted here as well. Anytime I have something new to share, like my photography works or my streaming episodes, I got two coming up, two episodes coming up with two very epic guest speakers as well. So today we have Shekar. On August 1st, Saturday, gonna have Mario Om all the way from Mexico. And the Tuesday after that, we're gonna have Lillian Liu all the way from Vancouver, Canada. And these people are all talented, okay? They have very, very different approach towards photography. Some of them take landscape, some of them take portraits, some of them do digital art, and we address them all because at the end of the day, we just want to connect with fellow photographers using this channel as the staging point. Alright, so do take your time to look through my Facebook page, check out what I have in store. For those gamers out there, yep, I have started gaming as well in my free time, which is very rare. But I do have another Twitch account called A-MEZ-ING Plays Games. If you want to connect with me there as well, follow me there as well. That's where I play games like Monster Hunter World and stream the game at the same time. But nothing to do with photography. Okay, that's just my purely gaming channel. All right. So this is my Twitter account. All right. So you can see that this is where I post some of my works, some of my thoughts. Sometimes tips and tricks on photography as well, and I do retweet quality content. So like for example, Emily here has got some very awesome fashion photo shoot that she just did outside of her house during the pandemic, with safety protocols adhered to, of course. So that's really awesome, and I do share some snippets of my own slices of life as well, and sometimes I celebrate my own gear, just like this Nikon FM2, which was my dad's and now it's mine, and I have had it in possession since 2003. This thing is older than me. It was purchased by my dad in 1982, but it's still working fine. We just sent it for servicing and it's doing brilliantly. Okay, and this is my YouTube channel. Any point in time you missed a video or a stream on this channel, feel free to check out my YouTube channel and you can see the video on demand. It's there. You can watch it in its full entirety, and for those of you guys who are very curious on how I do my photo shoots, I do have my behind the scenes here as well. Take a look at those. Enjoy. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe, of course. Okay, and of course, who doesn't have Instagram these days, right? So this is my Instagram account. I do share some of my personal works here as well, so they do take a look at it as well. Some of my WIP, some of my BTS are here as well. I'll really appreciate if you guys can follow my Instagram. Yeah, that's that's pretty much it for Instagram. And of course, this is my mute myself. Okay, that's Twitchception right there for you guys. So this is my Twitch channel, so you guys should be here watching this right now, if not on your internet browser or on the Twitch app. So you can watch my previous episodes here as well. And for those of you guys who are very curious about what I do for a living or what I use for my gear, this is where I have all my computer specs laid out and streaming gear laid out as well. So if you guys are curious about the gear, just go here. Don't need to PM me and ask me what do I use, etc, because yeah, same question every single time. So it's like an FAQ. I'll put everything there, so there we go. All right. And of course, you know, this channel is not possible without some of the wonderful sponsors. So just want to give a shout out to some of my wonderful supporters and sponsors like Bronco Singapore, Carousel, Omnidesk, Capture One, of course, Azo, Razer, Sigma, Sony, Typhoon Systems, and Wacom. Or Wacom, depending on who you talk to. And just want to share with you guys, today's episode is actually brought to you by Sigma Malaysia. Okay, so they are one of our supporters, and Sigma Malaysia is responsible for introducing me to SA Shekar, and of course they have been really awesome. They provide me with some wonderful lenses, like for example this lens here, which I'm using right now. This is the Sigma 16mm DCDN lens, which, to be honest, I love it so much. The f1.4, the bokeh is just so brilliant. I love it so much, I bought another one and use it for my other camera, which is just to this side, which you can't see, but never mind. Which I use for zoom lah. Okay, so that's all you need to know. But this channel is also not possible without the support of Razer, especially because they have supported me by using Razer Tipstream as a lending platform for myself to collect tips and donations from you guys. So if you guys want to, you can actually use the QR code over here. Just scan with your camera phone, and you'll be led over to your my Razer Tipstream, where you can actually donate using Razer Gold with PayPal. And of course, you know, every single cent or every single shard that you purchase to show support for this channel, it translates to 1 cent. So 1 shard is 1 cent, 100 cents is 100 shards. Okay, and each time you donate through Razer Gold, you will be able to accumulate Razer Silver, which you can use to redeem this really awesome stuff. Check it out, guys. You can actually have access to this catalog over here, and you can download games, purchase games, or even better yet, redeem all these epic Razer loot, such as Razer keyboards, mice, headsets, and mouse pads. And I think they even have the mics, caps, t-shirts, you name it, you got it. In fact, oh man, my Razer hydrator's behind it. I can't show it to you guys, but basically, I recently got, where is it? Let me try to find it. There we go. This thing here. Haha. Okay, picture's too small. So basically, it's a flask of sorts, and I haven't. Oh, in fact, I have a picture of it here. Yeah, I just took a photo of it. Ta-da! There you go. See, now you can see it without me turning the camera. So this wonderful hydrator is a courtesy of Razer, and this ensures that I don't, die from dehydration while streaming, because every single time I'm streaming, I tend to forget to drink water. So anyway, enough about me. Today we're gonna have a very special guest on the show. As always, all guests on our show is special. Okay, so we have Shekar, who is gonna join us in a bit. Check out his website over here. I'll link it in the chat window, of course. So I just want to share a little bit of background about Mr. Shekar here. Educated in Kuala Lumpur and Australia, Shekar began as a photojournalist at the Star newspaper in the early 80s, where his work won many photo awards. In 1989, he started Red Studio Inc., specializing in editorial, architectural, hotels and resorts, and food photography. His works has appeared in many exhibitions, including Movements, KL Arts Festival 1985, Kuala Lumpur Documentation, National Art Gallery 1989, In Memory of Ismail Zain, National Art Gallery 1992, Dokumentasi Malaysia, National Art Gallery 1994, The Craftsman, The Regent of Kuala Lumpur 1995, Photography as an Art, National Art Gallery 1996, Visions, a Multicultural Exploration of Malaysia and Australia, National Art Gallery 1997, Rural Landscapes, Selangor, Concord Hotel 2001, and many, many more. So imagine that. In 1985, he had his exhibition up. In 1985, I was just 2 years old. Okay, I'm not sure about the rest of you guys. If you guys are as young as I am, then you probably will be like, maybe not even conceived yet back then, but he's already running exhibitions. So that shows testament to what he's been doing all this time. He lives and breathes photography. Shekar is also very well known in the international hotel circuit in the Asia Pacific region. His trend-setting work for the Shangri-La hotels and the Four Seasons hotels have won him a lot of critical acclaim, and this is something that's really awesome. Shekar has been commissioned to do documentary assignments in India, Sri Lanka, Papua New Guinea. He's also finished 2 books documenting Southeast Asia titled Our Land Within, Journeys Through Southeast Asian Communities in 2011, and Raising Land, The Way of Life and Land in Sarawak 2013. He has also spent the last 12 years documenting life as it is in Myanmar, which is to be published in 2 volumes in early 2014. So his works are really astounding. Let's just take a look at some of them. And I will get him to share some of his works later on, so we can talk more about them later on. But you know what? I gotta say something here. When I was doing research on Shekar and I was looking through some of the works, and I actually feedback to Lawson, some of the things that he has done were able to stir up emotions within me. I would say it was like a tearjerker moment here and there to look at the things he's done, and I think his works are very important. They pretty much document life that may not be, especially for myself, a city boy, all right? I don't go to rural countries that much. I don't go into like the outback and things like that. I don't go to the kampung area even. I mean, Singapore, right? We don't have kampung area and all that. But to see this kind of photos, it just reminds you that there's so much more to others' ways of life, and it's an eye opener really. Wesley, when I grow up, I want to be like Shekar A-MEZ. I'm not kidding. Yo, you're definitely way more grown up than me, to be honest, brother. Lawson wasn't even born yet. Yeah, man. So this is it's quite interesting to see how things are seen from Shekar's lens, and I won't go too much into this. I don't want to spoil it too much for you guys. I just want him to share with you guys from his heart later on. But man, just thinking about it, his works are, I have no words. It's like it gives me pause. The thing about living in Singapore is that you're so used to being stuck in this urban environment, and you take things as they are, maybe to a certain extent take things for granted. But here, when you look at other locations, other places, how people live and all that, it could be the simpler life that I've always wanted, and it just made me think about how things are. Everything is just placed in perspective. But anyway, I digress too much. I'm not gonna go too detailed into my own personal thoughts and feelings about this. I really want Shekar to share everything with you guys because I think it's really awesome to hear from the man himself. And just want to share a bit about what we're gonna talk about later on. So just hold on to your seats. He's gonna share a little bit about one of his future upcoming projects, and that one I just heard about it like last week. It's gonna be really massive and epic, and I'm very, very happy to have him on the show to actually share with us a little bit about that as well. Okay, so now I've prepared a montage to showcase what Shekar has done, so let's take a look. And welcome to the Amazing Life Show, Shekar. How's it going? Let me just unmute because okay, you have your other phone. I think it's connected. Let me just click on that again.
Hello.
Yes, hi. Good to hear from you again. How's it going?
Thank you for having me. I'm very honored to be on this show.
The privilege
very
is all
honored
mine.
and-
The privilege is all mine.
No, but really, part of the whole process of sharing knowledge is to talk about what we do and to try and listen to what other people say as well. So,
Yep.
In this process, there's so much to learn.
Yes.
So much to learn. I'm an old man now.
No, still young at heart. Still young at heart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've spent all my life trying to document what it is I feel. As every photographer will tell you, we're always going out, trying to capture what it is we see.
Yep.
But what's more important is to try and capture what you feel. Because if you can do that, then whatever you do, no matter what genre you're working on, you'll be able to capture that feeling and translate that feeling in an image so that anybody else looking at that image will feel the same way as you did.
Yes. Yes.
So for me, that is everything, when it comes to photography.
Brilliant.
So for me, I started when I was about 4 years old, 3 years old actually, my mother gave me a camera, and I'm not sure whether you guys know what this is.
Oh wow.
Can you see that?
What's that? I've never seen that before.
That's a Kodak Brownie.
Oh wow.
I still have this camera, but the bottom part of the camera is missing.
Oh dear.
So it's just empty now. So you use a 1:0 film, and this is how it was. It's a amazing piece of camera. I used it till I was about 8 or 9 years old.
Wow. So you were exposed to the world of photography at such a young age.
Oh yes, I think in my case, my mother was the photographer in the family. My father was too busy working.
I see.
So she would take all the pictures. And of course, once a year, we would all go to a photo studio to have this one big family photograph. There were 8 of us in the family. So we would all go and have this one big photograph taken.
Yeah.
So over the years, I have a collection of all these pictures of the family. So the idea of taking pictures was very strong in my family. But I just took it to a different level because I was very influenced by my mother. My mother used to take pictures quite often, and so for me it was very. I just took it on from her. I I used that camera and I was running around the neighborhood taking pictures of the kids, my friends, and so that's how it started initially.
Nice.
But I was not interested in the camera per se. I was always interested in those little black and white prints my father would bring back home. When he came back home after work, he'd take it to the lab, he'd get it processed, and I would look at that, and I was fascinated by uh, pictures and printing, and I was amazed how these people made these prints.
Yep.
So I used to spend hours after school going to the little photo studios and watching them use an enlarger and start to print these black and white images. So that I was always very interested in the process of photography. And over the years, and even now, whenever I go and I look at my pictures being printed, I go to Wesley's studio.
He's watching right now.
And and I go there and I watch. I'm so amazed how the whole process of photography has changed and evolved in a way where it has become so much easier for us to print.
Yes.
But not to say that it's you don't need to know. You need to know so much. You need to understand the whole process of printing. In the old days, in a dark room, when I used to work in a dark room, we worked with negatives and we used with chemicals, and it was always very difficult to get consistent results. So if you printed one picture, if you made 10 pictures, all 10 would look slightly different.
Yep.
So that was difficult. But these days, if you have a very good craftsman in front of your printer and who's printing for you, that's very important. That's why I always tell all my photographer friends and all my students, one thing every photographer needs is a good printer.
Yeah.
A good printer understands how you work. And Wesley and I have worked for over 15 years, I think. And for every exhibition that I've had, he's the one who prints. And this is so important because, and I'm going to show you some pictures in some spaces where Wesley has actually printed the pictures.
Yep.
These are huge pictures, 5 feet by 6 feet. They're big. And you need to have a certain amount of knowledge to understand how this thing works.
Yep.
So, and I'll tell you straight away, I have no idea how this works. I can take pictures, and that's all I do. I actually do not enjoy sitting in front of a computer because as a photographer, you should be out there taking pictures, not sitting in front of your computer. That's not your job.
Yep.
So if you can have, even in the old days, when I could afford to have my pictures printed by a reputed printer, in the old days before digital, I used to go to one or two printers, one in Malaysia and one in Thailand, and where I would give them my negatives and they would print it for me. In fact, all photographers around the world, even the great ones, Henry Cartier-Bresson, all these people, they had people print their pictures for them because their time was more valuable spent out there taking pictures. That's what you're good at.
Yep.
If you have all the time in the world, if you want to print, that's fine. But don't take on more than you can chew. Understanding the process is very important, but still having someone who is, constantly living and breathing this, the whole process of printing, if they can do it for you, give it to them.
Yep.
It's like you in a business. Don't try and do your accounts yourself. Give it to an accountant. Why
Very
kill
true.
yourself doing, don't kill yourself trying to do everything.
Yep.
You do just what you can. And as a man, I've got I can't multitask. All right, I can go out and do one thing at a time.
Yes.
Unlike my wife who can do 15 things at the same time, I can't.
It's like all wives do.
Yeah, exactly. So this is the thing about photography.
Yep.
Be focused. Always be focused, and focus at one thing at a time.
Yep.
Of course, if you can do more, go ahead and do it. But I just feel that even when we are doing everything we can to focus on something, our mind is not 100% there. It's always drifting away.
That's true. That's true.
So photography has to be used like a meditation. All right. So you have to really get into it, understand everything you can, and then let yourself loose, and let yourself go out there and take pictures. All right.
Yep.
You cannot always look at what other people do. You just have to work with your own steam, with your own. You have to be inspired.
Yes. Very true.
So that's important.
And
Um,
and that's the thing about you.
yeah.
You tend to inspire people because just the first few minutes of this show, you're already telling me or sharing with me or teaching me even your approach towards photography, and it's a very philosophical approach. It's not just like it's just a camera, it's a tool, equipment, blah blah blah. It's more
Yeah,
about
exactly.
what goes on and you capturing it to
Right.
tell your story from your
Right.
perspective, from the heart. And this speaks volumes because you are an educator. You shared with me that you've gone at lengths to teach students, and you felt that students in themselves, as a community of students, they are the most important target audience for you in your case when you run your exhibitions or you run your talks and things like that. But why is that?
Well, because adults are a lost cause. We can't change adults now, because they already set their ways. If you start working on the children, you can actually get them to do things that mistakes that we've made. We can make sure they don't, but they need to learn from their own mistakes as well.
Yeah.
So teaching children is very important. We need to impart this knowledge that we have, and tell it to them in a way where they will actually understand and
Yes.
believe, right? So even if it's simple things like, I go quite often to rural schools to talk about the environment, because a lot of the work that I do as a photographer revolves around nature.
Yep.
I take a lot of aerial images, aerial pictures from everywhere
Yep.
around the world. My most recent work was actually in Puerto Rico, in the US, and I was doing aerial photography for one of my clients there. But again, when it comes back to Malaysia, especially in Malaysia and Singapore and Borneo, there's so much that we see from the air that you cannot possibly see if you're on the ground,
Yep.
right? And children are fascinated of having this view from the sky,
Yep.
a bird's eye view.
Could you
And when
share?
this,
Sorry, could you share your
of
screen?
course,
Yeah,
I
think
could do that. I can just show you some
to see
pictures.
you among the students and guys watching at home.
Okay. I can show you some of that.
Yep.
Give me a moment.
Sure.
One moment.
So guys watching at home, this is something very exciting because how often do we actually have an esteemed teacher who who not just does photography, but he actually goes out there to embrace the philosophy of teaching as one of the most important things that he can do in his lifetime, because like what he shared with just now, us adults, we are pretty much a lost cause. The fate of the earth is pretty much in the hands of our children these days. They are the ones who make the decisions for tomorrow. Tomorrow is literally in their hands.
Absolutely correct.
Yep.
Absolutely correct.
Yep.
I'm going to share the screen now, so give me a moment.
Sure. Yep. So remember, guys, tomorrow is in the hands of children today. Right. That's something I just thought of like a few seconds ago. I feel really awesome seeing it.
Can you
Alright.
see this?
Yes. Could you show the picture?
Okay. All right. I'm just going to go through some pictures. I mean, these are some of the exhibitions I've had, and very often I take them. The exhibitions are often opened by the VIPs and or people who are in the know-how of photography.
Okay.
And what happens after that is I invite students from rural schools, and they come in there, and I talk to them about photography. I talk to them about the environment.
Yep.
Now, why I take a special interest in the environment is because so much is happening in Southeast Asia, where our rainforests are being destroyed. There's so much. The effects of climate change have taken a big toll.
Yes.
On all of Southeast Asia. All right. But there is a fine balance. Everybody says that we are growing too much palm oil, or we are cutting down the forest. There needs to be a balance. We need to grow palm oil,
Yeah.
but we also need to preserve the forest that we have.
Yes.
Right. So these are very, very important. So I go around and I talk to the children in rural schools, and these pictures here were taken. Some of them were taken in Sabah, and some in Sarawak.
Sorry, could you share your screen? Because I think right now you
Oh.
only share the folder. We can't see the pictures clearly.
Oh,
It's
okay,
just
sorry.
icons. No worries. No
It
worries.
says, oh, okay, hang on.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. 1 second.
No problem. Or maybe you can stop sharing, then reshare the screen, because I think right now you're just sharing the folder, like just now how we.
Can you see that? You can't see this now?
No, we can't. It's still
Okay,
icons.
all right.
Yep, no
Okay,
problem.
I'm going to. Okay.
So for those of you guys watching at home, if you can, we have so much to share for this evening's episode of the Amazing Life Show. Feel free to share the link to your friends on your social media. I'm pretty sure that some of you guys at home will definitely benefit from some of the things that he's going to share with us on this episode. So let's try this.
Okay, can you see this?
No, not yet.
Oh no, my.
Do you share screen or do you share app? There's a difference.
I said you are sharing. You're screen sharing now.
Oh, okay. You need to stop share
okay.
first.
Okay.
Yep. So let's try that again. So at the bottom you can see the stop share button, yeah, in Zoom.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you click on stop share first. There we go.
Okay.
Now let's try again. You click on share screen now. You should be able to see screen 1, I think, or desktop. So let's click on that.
Yeah,
instead.
desktop.
Yeah.
I can see desktop. Yeah.
Ah, fantastic.
And then.
Brilliant.
All right.
Super.
Can you see that now?
Yes. So you can show
Okay.
your pictures again.
All right.
Excellent.
There we go.
Excellent. There we go.
But okay, I can't seem to open. When I open the pictures, okay, there we go. Now we're
Yep.
seeing it.
Yes. Excellent.
Right. So
Excellent.
I'm just going to close it off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sorry. My apologies. I'm really not very tech
No
savvy.
worries. No worries. It's okay. It's okay. Don't worry about
like
it.
I said, I'm an old man.
But that's a wonderful thing, because at your age, you have the wisdom to actually share with us your knowledge. Like
Okay.
what Wesley has said, Shekar is an excellent mentor, comrade, and brother in arms. A friend who has taught him so much about humanity than anyone or anything else. And that's high praise coming from Wesley, because I know Wesley as well.
I'm very honored to have him as a friend and
Yes.
someone I can completely depend on. Sometimes I'll call him in the middle of the night and I said, I'll need 5 pictures printed.
Wow.
And I need it tomorrow. And these are big prints. So he will come in the morning and he will make those prints.
Brilliant.
And I always feel very guilty doing that, but I have no choice sometimes.
There we go. Wesley is
Well,
awesome.
there we go. So here are some of the pictures.
Yeah.
So like I was saying, we have to invest our knowledge
Mm-hmm.
and our time in educating children, because they are our future.
Yes.
They are. We need them more than they need us. Remember this. Your children are the ones who are going to be making decisions for you when they get into government, when they get into the private sector. So we need to really spend time talking to them and teaching them everything we can about the environment.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you're seeing. Are you seeing the pictures now?
Yes. Everything's okay. Fine.
Okay.
Don't worry.
Yeah. So this was taken in Sabah, in one of the exhibition spaces, and then of course, whenever I go, I talk to them about, like I was saying, about the environment. And one of the main things I talk about is water.
Mm-hmm.
Water, as you know, is an irreplaceable commodity. You lose water, you cannot replace it with anything.
Exactly.
So, and in the tropics, it may appear that it rains all the time, and it's always wet and wetter, but still, water is scarce. There are many communities in many parts of Malaysia that have no water, no water to drink, no water to wash, and it's very sad. And these are mainly our indigenous people, our Orang Asli, as we call it in Malay.
Yeah.
And these people, they really need to have the opportunity to have basic amenities like this.
Yep.
And the reason why they don't have water is because we in the urban areas of the country are being wasteful. We are being wasteful. We have not been saving our water resources. If we are wasteful, water is gone. I'm sure you have heard in so many areas, in school when you're growing up, don't waste water because
Yep.
you cannot get it back. It's not automatic. Sometimes, when we have a drought, even when we have periods when we have, when there's water cut, let's say, I don't know how often it happens in Singapore, but in Malaysia, sometimes you have a burst pipe and then
Yeah.
you have a water cut.
Yep.
And even for a few hours without water, we suffer. So can you imagine how difficult it is for our indigenous communities
Mm-hmm.
who have no water? So one of the things I talk about to these communities, to these children, is about the rivers. They always ask me, why is our water so dirty? Why is it so difficult for us? And I always tell them, hey, look, in the old days, when you were growing up, when your grandparents and great grandparents lived, they always lived by the rivers.
Mm-hmm.
They always lived by the sea. All right. And so they could see the water supply. They could see the rivers. They knew whenever the water was polluted, they would go and they would find the source of the
Mm-hmm.
problem and
Yep.
fix it. But these days, kids live all the way in the city, all right,
You would
and
know.
they don't know where their water is coming from.
Yep.
You get your water on the tap. So how will you know whether your water is good, whether your rivers are sick? So these are important things to understand, and children understand it when I tell them, and why it's important to not cut down your trees, because the whole process of waters and contamination of rivers come because of soil erosion,
Mm-hmm.
and that happens also because the entire ecosystem is upset.
Yes.
When you upset something, everything else goes bad. So these are some of the things. So here, this is another photograph.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to share this image. This is the man in the white shirt is a teacher of mine.
Mm-hmm.
His name is Eric Paris, an amazing gentleman, amazing photographer, who is now in his 80s, and he came to visit my exhibition in Kuala Lumpur. And next to him is Mr. Lee. Mr. Lee is an amazing person. He has, for very, very many years, been the main person who processed all film in the country. So if you had, E6, slide film or transparencies, those days we'd shoot on slides, he would be the one that everybody would send the film to.
Yep.
He has his background in Kodak, and he used to do a lot of work with all the photographers in town in those days. So some people who really made my life so much easier.
Yep.
So this is Mr. Lee and Mr. Eric Paris. So again, a few more pictures of me teaching
Mm-hmm.
in rural school. So you can see in the background how the
Greece.
exhibition is set up. I'll get to that in a bit.
Yep.
All right.
And I suppose all these prints were done by Wesley?
Yeah, every single print is done by Wesley.
Brilliant. Those are
Yeah,
those are how massive your large prints are.
Yes, yeah. Some of them
Yes.
are not Wesley's. The very large ones, because these are stickers.
Mm-hmm.
But the ones that are all framed, you can see
Yes.
on the left of the frame, is all done by Leslie. And these are big prints. Mind you, they're 4 feet by 5 feet, sometimes 5 feet by 6 feet. Huge prints, right?
And I think it's very important to always have your work in prints, because ultimately, if you're a photographer, the end game always has to be prints.
Yes,
that's where
exactly.
You can really hold
And I always tell everybody, you've got to always look at. You always got to have a print to see your work.
Yes.
Because whatever you see on your screen is not real.
Yep.
It is completely not real. I'm going to just open this folder up.
Sure.
And I'm going to just show you some pictures of the exhibition spaces. Now, since that I was talking about that, or am I going too fast here?
Oh, no worries.
Yeah, okay.
We have a lot more questions for you later on.
All right, okay. Well, I just wanted to show you. I mean, one of the reasons why we have exhibitions, for me at least, is about education.
Yep.
It's about education. It's in order to teach, students, and to share your experiences with the public. Now, when I say when you have an experience with the public,
Yep.
I'm inviting people to look at my work, but not just my work. I'm getting people to look at the country. So in this context, I was photographing the whole country from the air, and these are some of the pictures. Can you see it? I mean,
Yes.
Okay.
This is Khazanah Nasional.
Yeah, Khazanah National
Khazanah,
actually is the government's investment arm. But what they did was they supported this exhibition by sponsoring the exhibition itself.
Yep.
Because doing something like this is very, very, very expensive. As you know, look at the size of the prints.
Yes.
Hang on, can you see that? It's huge.
Yep.
It's wall size. The height is about 8 feet tall, but these are some of the prints. But when you look at it, it's huge. So it consumes you when you walk into the exhibition space. Now, exhibitions like this are important because it completely changes how people view pictures.
Yep.
This is very important. You're not looking at your phone. You're not looking at your computer screen. When you walk into an exhibition space with big pictures, you can actually walk into the image. And that's very important. And this has a profound impact on people who look at these pictures, especially non-photographers, right? So I'll just flip through that.
When was this actually?
This exhibition was in 2017 and 2018. For one whole year, this exhibition went around the whole country, including Sabah and Sarawak.
Wow.
So they transported all these pictures, air freighted, and these are really heavy pieces of framed pictures.
Yeah.
And it was quite a mammoth task trying to move everything. But then we had very, very good movers, and we could move all this exhibition. Oh, that's Wesley there. If you
look at that,
the next bit. Can you see
Camera
that?
appearance.
It's showing up pretty now. There we go. And coincidentally, that is Agnes from
Agnes.
Sigma.
Yep, Agnes is watching as well right now.
Yes, exactly.
So,
fantastic.
hello to the two of you. Nice cameo appearance.
Right.
Yeah.
Hi, Agnes. Hi, Wesley. So here you go. And again, they've always been so supportive.
Very good to hear.
Of the work that I do, and not me, but also other photographers.
Yes.
You see,
yes.
It is so important to be supportive of the arts.
Yep.
And she supports you even though you're not using Sigmas. They will still support you. They're good people. They care about photography more than they care about just selling cameras.
Yes.
And that's the beautiful thing about the people that I work with.
Brilliant. People
they have their heart. They have their heart in the right place.
Yep.
That's what I can tell you.
And
so here you go.
And I totally agree with you. I am very blessed to actually work with Sigma Malaysia as well. They're actually our partners for Capture One. Very awesome
Fantastic.
people. Fantastic.
Right. Yeah. So as you can see, this was a huge exhibition space. Now, if you look at this next picture, each one of these pictures, you can see my. I'm not sure whether you can see my cursor.
Yep, we can.
No, you can't.
Can.
Each one of these pictures is 4 feet by 5 feet. It's huge,
Yep.
And printing such large images, this is what we had to do. For the first round of making these prints, Wesley made 8 by 10s for me of every single picture, and then we put that all together, and we sort of see went to see how it would look on the wall, and then we'd make a selection, and then we would look at the small prints and decide how big they were going to be. And then from the small prints, you can actually, when you make a big print, you have to make sure that the contrast and all these things are set differently, because whenever you're looking at a large print, you're at least about 5 to 6 feet or 10 feet away.
Yes.
So even the way the exhibition is set up, you need to have space. So the bigger the prints, the further the distance. So you can see in this picture, there's a bench. And people sit here and they can look at the prints. So there's always this space that we give out. Then there are corridors for the smaller prints, and each corridor it moves you from one area to the other. So remember, you're telling a story. When I'm taking pictures, there are 50 prints that were being displayed at this exhibition.
Yep.
And so you have to guide, your story has to guide people into the exhibition hall.
Yes.
So how you place your prints are important. What you're trying to say is important. So the way it's been displayed, and of course the captions are very, very, very important. Captions are so important. You have to be able to explain. Don't explain the picture. The picture should speak for itself. But you need to give context to the image. If you're going to say a river, everybody can see it's a river, but where is this river? Why did I take the picture of the river?
Yes.
So these are important things to have in front of the image or below the image, so that people will have some context.
Yep.
Because these are not just pretty pictures. These pictures are telling a story, and they're telling a very specific story. Now, in this case, Grit and Grace was the name of the exhibition. Now, grit and grace are not two opposite things. It is basically, this exhibition was done when Malaysia attained independence 60 years later. So in 60 years, this was the 60th anniversary. And I wanted to show how much grit it had taken us to achieve what we have had in Malaysia all this while. So grit, that's what grit means. It is not rough. I'm talking about being very, very tough. And as a nation of 60 years, we did very well. We did very well. We did very gracefully. We did very well. And so these are the things, when we fought for independence, we didn't have to fire a single bullet. All right. But these are the things that are important. So when you choose what do you call a name for your exhibition, it has to mean something.
Yes.
All right. So again, more pictures.
Brilliant. It's a very immersive environment to actually be surrounded by photos.
Yes.
Especially with the large prints.
So this was held in an old bank,
Oh.
and the vaults of the bank were underneath. So it was all empty, but it was a beautiful, beautiful space. We had to completely carpet the entire place, build all the walls, and all the columns and all the panels had to be put up, and then it had to be printed.
Yeah.
So just a few more before I exit the screen.
I would love to be there in person, to be honest.
Well, when we do the next exhibition, which I'm going to invite you for sure.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
It's going to be bigger, much bigger than this.
when is that going to be?
Oh, that's going to be in Singapore. Actually, it's going to be in Singapore.
Come over to
Singapore.
Come over to Singapore.
Yeah, it's going to be a huge exhibition.
Brilliant.
And of course, Wesley will be making the prints. But you can see here another image here. I see Agnes posing for me, but no, she didn't know I was taking a picture.
Excellent.
All right. Okay, so I think we can exit the screen now.
Sure.
Nothing much here.
Brilliant.
All right.
Yes, Lawson is Lawson from Sigma as well, saying he's looking forward to you coming over to Singapore. We can all hang out.
Yeah, it's going to be a really, really interesting.
Exactly, it's going to be really epic
exhibition.
Yes.
Right. Now I'm going to go on to. Now I'm going to show you some prints now.
Yep.
These are actually the prints that I showed you earlier.
Yes.
And these are works that I did for this particular exhibition called Grit and Grace. Now I'm going to
open them up. Yep. There we go.
Yep, I'm going to open up and I'm going to go full screen because I think it'll look much better.
Yes.
Can you see these?
Brilliant.
Right. So these are this. So I have a very fondness. I have fondness for rural Malaysia, and a lot of the pictures that I take. I'm sorry, I think I missed one. I've got to go back.
Oh, no problem.
Okay, hang on.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So these are very significant images. These are pictures of Malaysia. And in this particular image is one that was taken in the island of Langkawi. Now, part of the whole storytelling process is about this particular book, Grit and Grace. It's about why I've taken some of these pictures. Now, if you look at these pictures, and if you look at where it was taken, it's very significant. You're looking at Langkawi here. And Langkawi is the birthplace of Southeast Asia. Now, this is very important. 550 million years ago, during the Cambrian period, we had these islands emerging from the sea. The first land to rise from the sea was these areas. In fact, Langkawi is so old, it's older than the Himalayas.
No way. Wow.
Yes. So this is part of history that, geography that we don't learn, unfortunately. But the Andaman Sea, this area is very, very important. So when I started this project, it was done I started with Langkawi, and then I moved in a anti-clockwise direction, and then up again. So I'll show you some of the other images. Now, this is a fascinating picture. All these pictures were taken with a Sigma DP0 camera. Now, if the resolution in your screen is good enough, you can actually see the ripples on the water.
Yes.
And it's a fascinating camera. I have to talk a little bit about the camera.
Yep.
Why it is so important.
Yes.
That when I'm up in the air, there are several things that we do. First of all, in a helicopter, we take the doors off. All right? And when I take the doors off, I get a clean, perfect view outside. And what I also do is I use a camera where you don't have to change lenses. So the DP series, I have got the DP0 and the DP3. And I also have the SD-Q cameras. But the DP cameras, the DP0 is the widest, with the widest lens. It's got a 14mm lens, which translates to a 20mm, I think. But in any case, these pictures are taken, so you don't have any issues of dust. You don't have to change lenses when you're up there. And when you're taking these pictures, I love the fact that I can immerse myself within the viewfinder, and I can see what I'm actually seeing from the outside.
Yeah.
And fascinating camera. So I'm using the proprietary file system, and then I come back and I convert it to a TIFF, and then after that I send it to Wesley. So that's as far as I know how to do it. I just pick the pictures, the X3 file, I think it was. That's what you call it. Yeah. So I have to apologize. I really don't know much about the technical side of tech. I can take pictures. That's all I do. So here again are some of the pictures taken with the DP camera. It's fascinating. This print, I made a print 6 feet across.
Yep.
It is so amazing. And this is not even a full frame camera. And yet, the quality, it's like medium format. Really, I kid you not.
And just for the benefit of the audience at home, because I do have a photo of you working from the inside of the helicopter, the door open
Oh,
wide.
yes.
So I'm just gonna share them real quickly how it looks like for the benefit of those at home. So you have here Mr. Shekar himself with his camera overlooking the landscape below. You can see that he's got his headset on. You can see that he's got his camera, and you can see there's virtually no way to tell that he's inside the inside of a helicopter because the door is flung wide open, and he is literally just floating. Dare I say that?
Floating. So I hope that every one of you at some point get a chance to experience a helicopter ride with the doors off.
Oh yeah.
I hope you're not afraid of heights.
I would love to try one day.
Yeah. So again, like for instance, this image was taken, and if you look at this picture, you would actually think that this was somewhere in China.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not. This is Langkawi.
Langkawi has
these has views like this.
Wow.
Yeah, and you should go and visit these places. I mean, from Singapore, it's so easy to actually come in here and to come to Malaysia. Once the MCO is lifted, once the whole thing is, this COVID-19 leaves us, I think we should try and travel again and visit again and really spend some time in Southeast Asia. There's so much to see.
Yep.
Okay, this is hang on, let's see. All right, okay, this was the cover of my book. All right, this is the cover of my book, Good and Grace.
Yep.
And this was, in fact, one of the first pictures I had taken. Again, with the Sigma DP0. And you can see the dynamic range of this camera, where you have the brightest, and these are almost untouched, except for some contrast adjustments, but they're almost untouched. And the detail, you can count every leaf, I kid you not. You can count every leaf on these trees. And I'm shooting basically at 5.6 or at most f8 and shutter speed, whatever happens,
Yep.
But that's how it is. And there's so much detail. And I'll move through very quickly.
The thing is, when you're shooting from a helicopter, I would expect a bit of motion blur because you're constantly moving. I mean, regardless whether the helicopter is hovering or not, you're suspended in mid-air. But here you can see that it's very sharp and very clear.
Yeah, it is.
Brilliant.
Now, I'd like to say one thing about shooting from a helicopter. And depending on the helicopter that you're on, there are several different types of helicopters. There are some helicopters with 2 blades and some with 4 blades and some with even 6 rotors, right? 6 blades, right? But this one particular helicopter that I was working on was with the Bell 407. The Bell 407 is a phenomenal helicopter. It's very, very stable. It's a twin-engine helicopter, and it really, really is very, very stable, right? And even I've worked on another helicopter as well, the Bell 505, which I'm going to be using for my next project, and that's a phenomenal, amazing, very agile helicopter.
Yep.
And there's big doors, big wind, clear glass that you can see right through, and it makes photography such a joy.
Yep.
But one of the things that we normally do is we take the doors off, and the reason for that is, well, first of all, you don't have to shoot through any kind of glass, you don't have to shoot through any kind of perspex, but what's good is you feel the wind. You can actually experience. Now, what's the difference between shooting from a helicopter and shooting with a drone? When you're shooting from a drone, you can't have the experience of seeing before you take a picture. When you're shooting from a drone, you're sending a machine up. You're still on the ground. You can't experience. Your peripheral vision is not the scenery that you're taking a picture of. Your peripheral vision is your remote.
Yep.
That you're looking at. So it's a huge difference. And that is very, very important when you are trying to photograph something. Going back to what I was saying earlier, you have to feel what you're shooting for. You have to feel it. It's not just about seeing and photographing. You have to feel it, right?
Agreed.
So I'm going to just move on.
Wow.
So this is again a fascinating rural scene in Malaysia, right? This is something that you'll see everywhere. In when we're shooting for a helicopter in Singapore and Malaysia, we have certain laws that your helicopter cannot fly before dawn and it cannot fly after sunset. That's the law. It's the old antique law, that no one, that doesn't really make any sense, but it's the law nevertheless.
Yep.
And so whenever we want to take pictures like this, we have to be up so early waiting for dawn, and then we have to get the okay from the tower, and then we take off. So it's very difficult to get pictures like this in Malaysia. You can do it in many other parts of the world, but in Malaysia and Singapore, the law says that you can't fly before dawn and you can't fly after sunset. So on a day when you have a bit, when it's slightly cloudy, you can get some very, very interesting shots like this.
Yeah. And just out of curiosity, how long do you stay up in the air at any point in time, and how many times of
maximum 2 hours at a time.
2 hours at a time? And how many sorties do you guys have to make to get all the
shots? Well, once we go up, the meter is running, which means you're paying a lot of money. We pay 8,000 ringgits an hour.
8,000 an hour.
Ringgits. Wow. So that's about
3,000.
Yeah. Sing dollars. Yeah.
Yep. Still a lot of money.
And an hour. Yeah, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money.
It's like 2 hours. Sorry, 2 hours in the air. You can buy 3 Sigma FPs.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. So it is not cheap.
It's not cheap at all.
By any standards. Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
But it's important to do. Now, if we photographers don't do this, who's going to do it?
Yes. Very true.
Very true. We have a responsibility as photographers to go out and try and capture this. So if we can convince, people sponsor us to try and do this kind of work, we should try.
Yep.
Because only we can do this kind of work. Yes. So this picture here was taken up in the mountains. This was taken in Pahang, in the middle, in the spine of the country. And this is actually what you call it's a cloud system.
Yep.
It's called a lenticular cloud system, and it's always a precursor to bad weather. So we always make it a point to try and fly during, when there's nice dramatic clouds. And normally when that means, when it's just about to rain. So you have all these very dramatic clouds. So this is one of the tallest peaks in the country.
Nice.
And then we have some other pictures here. These are some waterfalls, again taken with the Sigma FP. I remember taking this picture when I first bought the camera, and it just blew my mind away. There's so much, that detail.
Wait,
and
this was the Sigma FP?
No, this was the Sigma DP0.
Oh, DP0.
Yeah. And I'll show you some later of with the FP where I go into the city.
Sure.
Right.
But out of curiosity, because you did share with me that you trained to become a lawyer and then being a photojournalist and all
that. Yes.
How did it transcend to what you are today? And more importantly, how did all those experiences help you shape to become the photographer that you are today?
I think two things. You come from somebody like as old as me. In the old days, you were expected to be a lawyer or a doctor or an engineer.
Yep.
All right. If you didn't be one of these three things, you were a failure. So everybody just went out and did this kind of, they studied to be lawyers or doctors, that sort of thing.
It's an Asian thing, I guess.
Yeah, all right. So I'm just going to go on full screen. Give me a second.
Sure, no problem.
So one of the things that I had to do was I signed up and I became I read law in university, and then I came back. But I knew all the time, I knew that this was not what I wanted to do uh, for a living. You know, I knew I was going to be bored. I knew I was going to not enjoy it. And really, in life, you got to pick things that make you happy. Don't do things because you have to. Do things that that will give you a lot of happiness. All right, and that's very, very important. And a lot of kids feel that, oh, you have to do this, you have to do that. No, you don't. Just be happy. That's all. And once you're happy, you'll find that you can do anything you want, and you will do it well. You know.
Very true. Words of wisdom,
So
right
yeah. All right. So you have, again, this was taken in Sarawak. Right. This is a Gunung Lesong. Lesong is actually means a flat stone where you do your grinding.
Yeah.
So that this is a national park. And the next
Brilliant.
picture is in Sabah.
But just out of curiosity, has anyone come
Yes,
up
sir.
to you and asked you, why do you only shoot in black and white? Why is it always black and white, not in colors?
Because I'm already colored. I'm just kidding.
Oh wow, I didn't expect the answer.
No, I'm just making it a point.
but it's,
No,
it's,
well, I
it's
think
still...
when you shoot in black and white, you remove all distractions. I've always find that for many reasons. I'll give you a few reasons
Yep.
why I shoot in black and white. I shoot in black and white because color, sometimes in embellishment, you don't need it. You don't really need it. I mean, for me at least, I'm only speaking for myself. And I take a picture. You take a beautiful picture of the scenery, and then you suddenly see this yellow plastic bag in the corner. No matter how beautiful that shot is, your eyes will keep looking at that yellow plastic bag first. Am I not right?
Yep.
It's always the brightest color, the lightest color that is going to attract your attention. All right. So if you're doing commercial work, fine. But when you're doing landscape work, even if you're shooting in the city, all right, if you were to photograph in black and white, I think it's a very powerful medium. You can tell a story without being distracted by the colors. Sometimes you need colors to tell your story, but most of the time I find, in my case at least, I don't need it. And so I went around. So these are some of the pictures. These are huge. I mean, these are brilliant images of the country from the air.
Brilliant. And how many feet was this up in the sky?
This is about maybe 5,000 feet.
5,000. With your window open, your door open, in fact.
No, sometimes, yeah, but sometimes you have to keep it close. I'm going to shift. So coming back to why I did not go into practice, and I went straight into journalism. I joined a newspaper, and I joined several newspapers, and I moved from country to country, learning. And this is very important. If you're working for someone for too long, you're going to stop learning. You have to keep moving. And contrary to what they say, rolling stones gather no moss. I don't believe that. It's true to a certain extent, but it is not completely true. You need to move. You need to travel to be able to understand, to be able to absorb cultures of different countries.
Yes.
The way people live. You need to understand that.
Yep.
So for me, I always tell everybody, stop accumulating things. Spend your money on travel. Spend your money on experience rather than buying things. You only need one camera. You don't need 20 cameras. You don't. What's the point? You know what I'm saying? Just one camera is enough.
All right,
So
Lawson.
pick
I'm
one
sorry, I'm
camera.
not going to buy the Sigma FP anymore.
No, buy it. It's a great
I'm
camera.
just kidding. Oh,
So
yeah.
spend your time.
True.
You know, investing in one piece of equipment that you really like,
Yep.
and use that. And tell you,
Yes.
there are pictures that I've taken 10 years ago with a small little point and shoot digital camera. The pictures are still so good today.
Yep.
Really, really.
That's true.
And now with all these advancements, and especially with Sigma making this phenomenal lenses, it's fascinating. This picture is very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
This picture is actually just a 5 minutes drive from the city center in Kuala Lumpur.
This is near Kuala Lumpur. 5 minutes
Yes,
drive.
it's a 5 minutes drive.
Wow.
I kid you not.
I
But of
never
course,
knew.
you've got to be on a helicopter.
Oh man.
But
knew?
this is so beautiful.
5 minutes drive from Kuala Lumpur and you have this.
Yeah, yeah. Now, and then
Sorry.
the other one, the next picture is in Langkawi. These are our mangroves, again, very important. And
Yep.
then these are some of the mountain tops. I'm just going to flip through quickly so that we can talk about other things,
Sure.
that are interesting as well.
Sorry, let me just grab a drink. Got kind of throat dry or something.
You're getting dry, yes. Okay.
Mhm.
Oops, this one is sort of upside down.
Your helicopter's going vertical this time.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, hang on. Okay. So for those of you who have been to Cameron Highlands, even if you're in Singapore, I'm sure a lot of you in Singaporeans have come up here. This is the aerial view of Cameron Highlands, and you can see that mountain at the far end, and all that in between are the tea plantations.
Ah.
Fascinating. And those little, in the foreground, you find these plastic. These are the little covered nurseries.
I see.
Yeah.
Very different perspective from. I mean, I've seen photos
Yes,
of people
exactly.
going to the
Yeah.
leaves, but this
Yeah.
is different.
Yeah. So this one is the highway that connects you from the west coast to the east coast of Malaysia.
Wow. It's just
So-
one vessel.
Yeah, it's one road that goes all the way.
Yeah.
The Greek highway.
Yeah. Brilliant. And you know,
These are again, so on.
the thing is, just now I just want to touch a bit about what you said just now about how you visited other countries, you explore different cultures, and that's how you immerse yourself in different situations and working with different people, and you understand more about their way of life, especially
Right.
indigenous people and things like that. But you also were part of a crew, maybe a one-man crew if I'm not wrong, where you covered locations such as Myanmar during the political upheaval.
Yes, I did.
Were you ever concerned about your own personal safety during those periods where you actually were out there in the field?
All right. I began to go to Myanmar in the late 80s, 87, 88. Once there was the uprising in Myanmar when it took place. I went there because I felt that we needed to document it from a perspective, my own perspective. And so I went there and I went to photograph. And I used to go into the country illegally.
Oh.
Through I used to go in. Well, you couldn't go in because in those days your passport will say what you did for a living. So if you're a doctor, it would say doctor. If you're a journalist, it'd say journalist. And at that time, Myanmar didn't allow any journalists or even photographers to go into the country because they thought you're going to be reporting on them. So
Yes.
if you wanted to do any work, I'm going to show you some work shortly on
that'd
Myanmar.
be great.
But again, this is it. You go in there, and I used to walk. I used to take one camera with me. In those days, my camera of choice was a Leica M6, and a 50mm lens and a 28mm lens. Two lenses and about 50 rolls of film, black and white film. I used a Kodak Triax, and I take that with me.
Oh, my favorite film as well.
Yeah.
Lawson was
So that's
asking, was that a rain cloud previously?
Oh yes, it's a rain cloud. Yes,
Rain cloud.
It was a thunderstorm that had just about to. We almost got caught in this thunderstorm.
Wow.
And we almost we were in big trouble actually.
Oh.
And then we had to circumvent the entire rain, the thunderstorm, and go around the other side. But it was a picture that I could not help but to take. It was so dramatic.
Yeah.
So dramatic.
Brilliant.
This was with a Sigma DP 0 again. That camera just works all the time. It doesn't go bad. It doesn't go bad. I still use it. It's an amazing camera.
Brilliant.
And there's nothing to fiddle around with. There's nothing to fiddle around with. Yeah. Again, this is a horseman in Kelantan. Yeah, and you can see the detail. Look at the detail on the horse.
Yep.
You can see every vein,
and
it's quite fascinating.
You actually caught the horse in a very in a
relaxed pensive mood.
Because normally horses, you can tell by the mood by the ears. If the ears are falling forward, that means he's very relaxed. If it's behind, that's where you need to run.
Yes.
Brilliant.
Yeah. Well, I don't know much about horses, but it was just a scene that was very beautiful, and I happened to be there and I captured it. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, and then
beautiful.
I'm going to exit this screen, and I'm going to show you. Since we were talking about Myanmar,
oh yes,
I will show you some works of Myanmar.
Yep.
All right. So these pictures were taken over a period of maybe 15 years. All right. I'm going to go. Oops, hang on. It's showing something else. Okay, so just some pictures here. One of the things that I find quite fascinating about photographing a country is always about the people.
Yes.
Right? The people make up the country. And when I started photographing, these pictures were taken in the 1987, 89, that period. And over till about 2013, I was going there. But most recently legally. But in the past, in the first 5 years, I had to go in illegally. I'd walk through, dressed up like one of them, with just a sling bag, and I would go. And I would be in the country for about a month. I'd stay for a month, and then sneak back out, and then come back to Thailand. Then from Thailand back to Malaysia.
And where do you stay during this period? I mean, like for 1 month.
Oh, you stay in shop houses, you stay... the other thing about Myanmar is you can't stay in a hotel if you don't have a card, if you're not you cannot stay with another friend. So you can go, but you can't stay in a Buddhist temple. You can just walk in there, they'll let you stay.
Wow.
So, yeah. So the monasteries were always very welcoming. So I had to pretend I was mute because I couldn't speak Myanmar. So I just go there quietly, and the things I used to do to get these images. Yeah. So these are, you see, in Myanmar again, the people are extremely smart. They are hardworking, brilliant people. And I'm sure you noticed this, even in Singapore. If you find a Myanmar person in Singapore, you'll find that within 1 year of coming there, they can speak 3 languages, new languages. They can speak Chinese, they can speak Mandarin, they're amazing people. And it is really sad that this country was thrown into this state because of a crazy General Ne Win. Right? So it's really, really sad that this happened. Oops, okay, this is another one. This is again in some of the Padang people with their rings around their necks.
Yep.
It's a community. Here's some pictures. This is one of the early color pictures that I took with Kodachrome on a train. And this lady was in prayer just before leaving the train. And I used to travel on the train quite often. It's the old trains, quite amazing.
And all these were shot with film, right?
Yeah, all on film.
Yeah, so
everything here is on film.
For those of you wondering at home, these are not those filtered borders that you see on Instagram. This is the real deal.
Yeah, and then this one here, this was taken on a very long train ride. I was traveling for about 3 days on this train.
Wow.
And you know, Myanmar is a very big country, but what made this train ride really difficult was the terrain was very going uphill. So I was staying with this family on the other side of the coach, and this child that the father is playing with was crying all night, and the mother was looking after this child. And when I woke up in the morning at about 6 o'clock in the morning, this is really early in the morning. You know, sunlight there is
Quite
early.
bright.
It's not like here.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's very bright, and this is what I saw. And you can see there's so much of energy in this image, with the father playing with the child, and the mother's gone to sleep. She's just completely tired, and you can see how you're telling a story, and you can see that the corridor, they're full of boxes. You know, people are traveling from one state to the other. So quite fascinating.
Yep.
And then you have the next image is in a little monastery where children, where they are trained to be monks as well. Again, very arresting eyes, very powerful images.
And how do you approach your subjects? Because some people, you know, they have come to this channel before. They ask, like, how do we approach people in the streets, or maybe people in your case the monastery? Do you just, you know, go up to them and just speak to them, or you communicate, talk to them first, or something like that?
Yeah, very often I go there and I spend some time. I will go there the first time, and I will not take any pictures. I'll just spend time with them. I'll talk to them. And in the case of this monastery, I went there several times because I was trying to teach the children some English and that sort of thing. And they were all very keen. I used to play football with them. And so you make friends. First you make friends. And then once they are friendly, then you can start to photograph.
Yep.
And that's important, right? So you got to gain their trust and be very, very respectful of whoever it is you're photographing.
Yes.
Which is why it's another thing I'll tell all photographers is try and learn sociology and try and learn anthropology if you can. These are two things that will help photographers, no matter what genre of work you're doing, all right? Sociology, anthropology, very, very important, because it teaches you about people. It teaches you about society. It teaches you about how to just behave.
True.
How to be respectful, yeah?
And I guess at the end of the day, it's all about building that connection, that human connection with the subject.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
And
So this...
the thing about you is that I also understand that you know, over the years you've visited Myanmar again and again, and you've actually developed very deep relationships with some of the members. And I just want to share with the audience at home about this video that you have made, and you share with me. I just want to share the rest. It's between you and the Sherwood woman who lives in Myanmar, and it's a reunion of how many years again?
Well, it was about almost 10 years before I had seen her. So National Geographic did a sort of a video. You can have a look at this.
Let's take a look at this one. Okay.
I took this photograph some 10 years ago by chance when I went to went to visit my guide's village, and this lady is auntie, and we're going to go there and meet her again. I'm going to photograph her again.
Although her head is shaking, she's still very healthy, and she's a typical Myanmar. She likes smoking. She always smoke typically made, locally made cheru with a corn leaf.
They live in these houses with stilts, on stilts, and it's a very steep stairway going up. And this lady, at that time, I think she was 82, she just ran up the stairs, and she sat on this chair next to the window, and she let down her hair, which is right all the way down to her ankles. And it was fascinating because what she did next was even more interesting. She pulled out this cheroot. It was about a foot long, and she started smoking this. And I was like shocked. I mean, it's like, wow, I've never seen this before.
And now, yes, we are going to my house. My niece and my niece. Oh, my old lady is now they are dressed up. ဟိုမှာလာပြီအမေတို့လာလို့ရှိရင်သူ့သားလိုမျိုးကြိုးလို့ပေးပါတဲ့ကိုလေးကိုသူကတတိယမယ်ကိုလေးရဲ့ပုံနဲ့ဒါသူကအင်ဒိုနီးရှားမှာသူ့လည်းကြိုးလိုက်ပါအောင်သူကဩစတြေးလျသူ့လည်းလေကိုလေးလည်းဟဲ့မင်းကြိုးလားမေးတကယ်စကားရကိုကမ်းဟုတ်ပြီလေကိုလေးကလာဟုတ်တယ်ပါလာတဲ့အတိုင်းမျိုး
She's still looking so young.
ငဲနေတော့မဲဦးလေးကငဲနေတော့မဲတဲ့Oh, she wants to take the pictures by holding your shoulder. ဟုတ်တယ်တို့အမေခေါ်တာမမ်ဆိုအမေလို့ပြောတာအမေရဲ့မမ်အဲ့လိုပြောတာအေးပါယူမရတယ်ဟုတ်တယ်မလာတော့ဘာပန်းကြီးတွေဝဲလာတယ်လုံးမဲ့ဆောင်း project
It's amazing. I know, it's really, I mean, I know, I'm so emotional now. You know, I haven't seen her for so long, and the way she greeted me and welcomed me back, you know, it's like coming home to see mom. All these kids were not even born yet, I think.
Do you want to change the chair or the same?
No, okay. Keep it as it was, like it used to be. Just see how that looks. And then she can let her hair down.
Oh, the window. Yeah, I'll play chat.
I think I love I'm just trying to recreate the same. Okay. All right. She's so conscious of her hair. She's gorgeous. I mean, even at this age, she's got the posture and the presence. Okay, I think
You also can write the accent cut.
Mission accomplished. Got the shot and she's looking just as lovely as she did 10 years ago. I mean, if you really look at her, when she sat down on that chair, her posture was just perfect. And her back straight, and she's been a farmer all her life. And it's amazing. It's so good to see her again.
Right. I can't hear you.
Yeah, let me just double
Okay,
check.
sorry.
Okay, sorry about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, totally lost for words because I forgot to turn on my mic, and I'm just, it's a metaphor.
It's okay.
But
Okay.
to be honest, it's yeah. I mean, I saw this video once before, and I watched it again, and it struck the chord within me to. It's a very emotional video to actually have you return after 10 years, and she still recognizes you after all those years.
Right.
Um,
Sadly, she has passed away a few years ago.
yeah.
Very sadly, and for the years that I knew her, I used to send medicines to her because she was quite ill. She had Parkinson's towards the end of it, which is why she was
Shaking.
shaking the way she was. Yeah,
Yep.
and but she had a amazing life, and it was very sad to see her go. It was very sad.
And
Well,
for this, what would you say is your greatest takeaway from this experience?
I think what happens always as a photographer, especially if you're working with people, is you establish relationships. And these relationships will teach you so many things. It'll teach you the value of life, the value of friendship, and why it's important to keep that friendship alive always. All right. And you need to spend time. So when you travel, one of the greatest things that you will get is you will begin to develop these relationships with people around the world. When I was a young man, we used to have pen pals that we'd write letters to, and then we'd receive letters. There was no internet, so the mail, the post was the only thing we had. And those relationships, even till now, I know many of those people are still alive. Now we communicate with emails, but in the old days, pen pals. And it was fascinating to just receive an envelope with a stamp from a different country. So these were the little things that were very, very interesting, and you learned about that country. And when you started to leave school and you started to work, you went out and you traveled to these countries. So it was a very powerful experience, visiting these countries and visiting the people that you have made friends with. It's the same. Now it's so much easier. It's so much easier to travel. Though, if you ask a person in Myanmar, it's still very difficult for them to come to Malaysia to visit. It's very difficult. Yep. It's very expensive. So we, especially in Malaysia and Singapore, we are so much better off financially to travel. We're very privileged. We're actually very, very privileged. In all of Southeast Asia, I think Singapore and Malaysia are probably the only two countries, maybe even Thailand to a great extent, we're able to travel because we have the financial resources to do that. But really, we should make that effort to travel to these places and learn. And then, of course, when you photograph in these places, you'll find that you learn so much. So much.
Yep.
Okay, I'll just share you another screen.
Sure.
Oops. One moment, I've lost it.
No worries. Is this desktop wallpaper another one of your shots?
No, that's an Apple screen.
They should approach you for some of their wallpapers. It'd be brilliant to see your works there.
One moment, I'm just trying to...
No worries. So for those of you guys who will just tune in, maybe I'll just do a shout out again. To show your support for this channel, what you can do is hit the follow or subscribe button in the top right hand corner of your screen right now, or you can use your phone to scan the QR code that you see on screen right now to actually donate through the Razor Tip stream. Now, as mentioned before, if you use the Razor Tip stream to donate, you can actually buy the shards. One shard is 1 cent. It's very cheap. Okay, so the best part is if you use Razor Gold to buy the shards to show support for this channel, you can actually receive Razor Silver, which you can accumulate over time to redeem epic Razor gear and loot. And of course, I'm gonna get Friday to share the links. Okay, so back to Shekar. There we go.
Yes, I'm just going to very quickly show you some of the work that I've been doing in Myanmar. I was just in the process of showing you some pictures just now where we left off.
Yeah.
Can you see this?
Yes. Yes.
All right,
Very clear.
Okay. So again, some of these pictures on the train when I was traveling, and then we went saw that too. Now this is an image of a soldier who lost his legs in a
Oh
landmine.
yeah.
Sorry, it's a bit slow. Yes, okay.
Mm.
Again, quite interesting. He managed this orange grove, and with his dog, and he moves around. These little wooden things that he's sitting on. It's
Oh.
quite an amazing person.
I see.
Yeah. So you walk around in these places and you meet these people. A tea maker. Let me just see whether I can make this bigger.
Yep.
Yes. A tea maker in Yangon.
Mm-hmm.
Again, all these pictures were taken all with a Leica M6, either with a 50 mm lens or a 28 mm lens.
Yep. You did it in the same village all along?
No, this is in this is in different, but this is in Yangon.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, 1 second.
Yep. No worries.
This is a street scene in Yangon, in front of a school.
Yep.
Where the children were performing.
I'm curious. Did some of them have this white stuff on the face? What is
that's
actually?
that's called Tanaka. Tanaka is
Tanaka.
like a sunblock.
Oh, I
It's
see.
made, and they apply it. Even if I'm sure in Singapore you'll find some Myanmar people. If you go to Peninsula Plaza, you'll see
Yep.
a whole bunch of them with all this, and it's really like a sunblock.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, it's actually very good, very effective.
Oh. You're right. I've
again,
seen those in
portraits
Peninsula
of
Plaza as
people.
well.
Yeah, and then this is a picture of a security guard who lives in this place, and he looks after this house.
Mm-hmm.
And in the background, these two children in the back. Yeah. So, again, portraits of people. And there was a period when I went there with a medium format camera with a Hasselblad, and I was taking some portraits as well.
Yep.
And these were some of the pictures taken with a Hasselblad.
How is it? The experience of shooting with a Hasselblad medium format as opposed to
Well, it's
Leica
heavy, man. It's really heavy. So actually, I've sold all those cameras now. I don't really. Right now, I'm just looking for something that is light, something that's easy to handle, and the camera that comes to mind is the Sigma FB.
Yeah.
I mean,
compact.
the first time I saw it, and I thought to myself, "My God, this is an amazing camera." And really, I am not someone who's seduced by megapixels.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really care whether it's 10 megapixels or 12 megapixels or 50 megapixels. It makes no difference to me because all my pictures are maybe, most of the time, if it's not for an exhibition, maybe about 10 by 12 inches. We don't need more than that.
Exactly. You don't need it.
You really don't need more than that. Unless you're having an exhibition every day.
Yep.
You don't need that kind of. And even with, but what you can, with the technology that you have now, the pictures that I was shooting for my exhibition with the DP0 are fascinating. And it's small enough to take anywhere with you. All right.
True.
So you don't need big equipment anymore. You just need to understand the equipment that you have and start using it. And start using it every day. I wake up every day, even when I'm sick, no matter what it is, I wake up every day and I take pictures.
Yep.
There's not a single day that I don't wake up and take pictures.
Brilliant.
You need to develop muscle memory. You have to keep doing this all the time.
And I think ultimately you need to keep your mind fresh, to keep on making it
Exactly.
work.
Keep photographing all the time.
Yep.
This is very, very, very important. And this is the advice I'd give young photographers. Shoot every day. In those days, I'll give an example. Before anything happened, before we had automatic cameras, all right, I'd have, let's say, a Leica with me. I used to pre-focus. We walk on the streets. We're constantly looking at the light and adjusting aperture and shutter speed. Constantly. It's like almost natural. And every time I'm walking, and if I'm looking at someone in front of me I want to take a picture of, I estimate the distance about 10 feet. I don't focus through the camera, because if you do that, people are aware that you're taking pictures.
True.
So you just set your, if you try and do your hyperfocal distance, you set that, and then you get your pictures.
True.
So this is the famous picture of the Churut woman lady.
This was the one from 10 years back, or
Yes, this was in 89.
89. Wow.
Yeah, so let me show you. I'll just enlarge this.
That shadow is really massive.
It's a huge. It's called a Churut.
Yeah, it's massive.
Can't seem to enlarge this right now. Yes.
Oh, there we go.
So she's got hair all the way down to her ankles, and there was not one gray strand on her head, not one gray strand.
Wow.
And she's been a farmer all her life. So really quite fascinating.
And you know, she's always constantly smoking. You know.
Yeah, well, she's got two. She smokes 2 of these a day.
2 of these.
Wow. 2 of these a day. So but she was 90 when she passed away. So
She led a full life.
Smoking doesn't kill you.
I was just getting to that, to be honest. Because you look.
No,
look
but
at the
again,
size of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, these are homemade cigarettes. Right?
Yeah.
They are cheruts.
Yeah.
They don't use processed tobacco. The tobacco is from their garden. They use corn leaves. So maybe
natural.
it doesn't have all the chemicals that you have in modern cigarettes.
Yes.
I'm just saying.
True.
Just some more pictures here. Oh, they're just jars. Sorry.
Absolutely brilliant. And you have actually, coming back to what we're going to show in a bit with regards to grit and grace. You have published more than a dozen books on photography, covering themes such as diverse as culture,
Yes.
Food culture, architecture, portraiture, indigenous people's lives and crafts. And just now you did mention during your exhibition that, or rather you showed your exhibition pieces where your latest project is Grit and Grace, the grandeur of monochrome Malaysia. So I have also a short video to share with the audience at home about what Grit and Grace is all about. So I'm gonna play it now in a bit. Then after that we'll just explore a bit more about Grit and Grace, and then we'll talk a bit about your upcoming collaboration with Sigma Japan and Bell Textron helicopters, because I think that's quite exciting to share about as well. All right, so guys, I'm gonna show Grit and Grace. Stand by. Brilliant, brilliant. And just out of curiosity, um, this is a massive undertaking. It's a massive project. You have your exhibition and all that.
Right.
I'm very curious because I myself would like to understand how this entire project was actually conceived and funded, and
Right.
planned as well. How do you do this? Are you a one-man
All
army
right.
or do you have a team?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes,
Can you
yes,
hear me?
loud and clear. Loud and clear.
Well, okay. Well, at first, I've been very fortunate, very, very fortunate as a young commercial photographer those days. And there were very few photographers in this business in Malaysia those days. So we had a big share of the pie. So there were very few of us doing a lot of work, and we made a lot of money. We did.
Yep.
And I was always very focused on doing the kind of work that I'm doing now. All right, I always wanted to do this kind of work.
Brilliant.
And for me, the very important thing was to show up the money, keep all that money aside, so that I could do this work when I'm older. So all my projects are self-funded.
Wow. Wow.
It's all self-funded. And what I also do is, if you have a great idea to do a book, for instance, all right? If you want to do a book on Singapore, or you want to do a book on the buildings of Singapore, all right? There's so many things you can do.
Yep.
If you want to do it, if you want to do a story on the MRT in Singapore, there's so many things you can. You have to first have an idea, have a plan, how you're going to do it, and then start doing something and build up a body of work. Once you have not all of it, you can have not the complete thing, you can just have maybe about 30% of the work that you have that you really like. Now, with that 30%, you build a narrative around that 30% of work, make a nice little program or a book, a short little booklet, then approach people to underwrite the project for you. So go out and see your banks, go and see your own banker. These people have money. Go and see people who are maybe the people in charge of maybe your PWD. I mean, or maybe the people who run the train system in Singapore. They might want to do a book. So you have to approach them. You have to show them your ideas and tell them and explain to them why it is something that needs to be done. Everything is important. If you have the idea to do something to make Singapore a better place, then you must go and do it.
Yep.
It's not just about making money. Now, none of these projects that I do actually makes any money. At most, it'll break even. At most, it'll just break even. But none of them, I've never become rich from doing any of this. I can tell you that. All right? Never. All right? What it does is it keeps the photography business going. Not just for me, but for all the people I'm associated with. Like, for instance, Wesley gets to print the pictures and he gets paid. The exhibition people get paid. All these, the people that I buy photographic paper from, all these things. So the entire industry is helped when you take on projects like this. It helps all of us. And this is why it's important to have projects like this. Photographers need to invest time and effort to do this. You may not make a lot of money, but then you will become quite well known for the kind of work that you choose to do. So, as I said from the very beginning, any kind of photography that you do has to have a purpose. What is your purpose in life? What's your purpose as a photographer? You need to be able to make a difference in the lives of the people that you affect through your pictures. All right.
Yes.
So if you're going to have if you're going to show your pictures of HDB flats in Singapore, then you can actually bring attention to the fact that some of these flats are beautiful. Some of these flats need to be refurbished. Some of the, things need to be done. They need to be upgraded. So whatever you're trying to say, right? The important thing is to try and make sure that the people that you're talking to understand what it is you're saying. and it helps them. It's going to help them. It needs to help them. So these pictures that I take, let's say Grit and Grace, all those pictures that I took, it needs to actually, for me, the whole point was to show Malaysians, show the world what a beautiful country we have,
Yep.
and from a different perspective, and why it's important to try and save the planet, save Malaysia, save the rainforests. Now, if you went up to a child and said to them, oh, you've got to love your country, they're going to ask you, love what? Country is too vague term to use.
Yes.
Save the rainforest. Where's the rainforest? Show me. So you show them these pictures. You take the rainforest to them. Take it to your schools. Show them. And so this is very, very important. So no matter what genre of photography you do, if it's architecture, you can do the same thing. I spent many, many years doing architectural photography around the world. I worked with some of the finest architects on the planet, and some of them are dead now, like I.M. Pei and Cesar Pele, all these people and the amazing, amazing people. So there's so much to learn from them. And when I photograph for them, they're teaching me so many things. And through my pictures, I will inspire other young architects who see, and they see these pictures, they get inspired, and they want to build something as well. So it's a cycle, and we are part of the whole cog. You know, we have part of the whole, we have cog in the entire wheel.
That's true.
So it's very, very important that we try and spread that kind of interests in the work that we do. All right?
Especially for the generations to come, like you know, they are the ones who will be witness to the future development.
Right.
Yeah.
I just wanted to show you very quickly, very quickly about my latest work with our indigenous people in Malaysia. This is a very sad story about how a lot of our indigenous communities have been neglected, all right, both by the government, and this is the sad truth that a lot of these people are not being given all the help they need.
Yep.
I'm going to just open that.
Yeah, I've seen news articles on them as well, how they've fallen through the cracks, and you know, their homes are taken away by federal projects, I think.
Oh, hang on. I'm sorry, I pressed the wrong button.
No worries.
Hang on.
Are you sending them for print now?
No, yeah, I know.
Wesley,
Oh, no.
you're rubbing off the printing
Wesley,
bug
help.
on him. Okay.
Oh my God.
You gotta
my-
cancel
this
them,
one.
otherwise you're gonna have all this.
No, hang on. I don't know where it's printing. Hang on, give me a second.
Okay. Alright, so guys, if you're watching right now, while Shekar's trying to fix his printer issue, because otherwise he'll be printing all his works. At a point in time, any point in time, you
What
have
did
any
I
questions
do?
with regards to his work, feel free to pop them in the chat window, and I'll post them to Shekar. Shekar, Wesley says pull the plug.
Pull the plug on what? On the printer?
I suppose so. It can't be on the computer. I'll lose you there.
Okay. Hang on.
Oh man, I think this is taking printing on a more serious level. You know, it's quite amazing. How many images?
No. Oh, I know.
Yeah. So once you force the printer to shut off, then I think you'll be fine.
Okay, I'm just going to.
There we go.
Hang on.
It's slowing
One
down.
second.
Yep. Very persistent.
Unbelievable. How did I do this? There are 50, 60 images.
Could you press cancel maybe?
I did. I'm just.
Or pause maybe. You just click on the pause button, the green button.
Yeah, I have to. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe that will work. Wesley
Sorry,
says
guys.
you're awesome with tech. So this is what happens when you press buttons that are not supposed to be pressed. Just now I had my own moment of fuba where I clicked on the mispressed the mic button. That's why I was still on mute. But
Muted.
yeah, because I had to mute, otherwise there'll be sound feedback with the video. But yeah, these things happen. In any project or anything with tech, there's always this guy called Murphy and his law.
Yes,
Yeah.
Murphy's Law. Yes.
Murphy's Law. I always tell people this, if Murphy is around, better be prepared.
Hang on, I'm trying to do this now.
Oh dear, Wesley's saying now. Yeah, and I thought Mac is friendly.
No, it's just my fingers are not friendly.
Yeah, at least we know what printer you use at home.
I have a brother.
You got 83
I
jobs
have
for
an
Epson.
Epson. I know, but I don't have an Epson printer anymore. This is an old Epson printer.
Oh, it's a ghost printer now.
Yes, I know. I threw away this printer a long time ago.
Oh dear.
Okay, I'm just
okay.
gonna.
Top left, can you see the Epson L4150 series button? I think if you click on it on the taskbar on the top left, top left of your screen on your desktop.
Top left.
Oh, I think it's done
top
already.
left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can click on see there's next to the Apple logo on the top left of your screen.
Yes.
Okay, if you click on
Quit
it,
that.
you should be able to say quit yes.
All right.
So quit.
All right.
There we
Oh,
go.
man.
Yeah, we're done. That was a
All
good
right, hang on. Okay.
a good
Hang
example
on,
of what
one
happens
more.
if you click on it too fast.
Yes. Okay. Hang on.
I
Okay.
think
Now
I
let me
suggest
just
you
go back
close this
quickly.
first. Press cancel.
Cancel. Yeah.
There's a cancel button at the. There
Oh
we
yes.
go.
Okay.
Yep, there we go.
All right. Hang on.
Alright, so yep, you may want to close this because otherwise people will call PK Cutter son.
Hang on. I'm just going to share again. Hang on.
Sure.
Sorry.
That was quite a fun ride.
Frightening. Yes. Oops.
Better close this contact details thing.
Oops.
Wesley says next time you go online, he's gonna offer to sit beside you.
Yes, I think I would really appreciate that. Hang on. I'm going to move this window.
You know what's the funny part, Wesley? We actually had a practice session with Zoom a couple
I
of
know,
evenings
man.
ago.
I'm hopeless at this.
Yeah, but I need to take a mental note now. I need to make sure that my guest speakers from my show from now on will not press the print button during the stream.
But strange, it was going to some printer that
Oh,
doesn't
yes.
exist anymore.
Oh,
All right,
that's
so I'm going to share this. Can you see this, guys?
amazing. Yes.
Okay. Command A and Command O, not P.
I'm so sorry. OMP is just next to one another, that's why I
Yeah, I know.
understand.
So one small mistake. Okay.
All right, once more with feelings. Let's go. There we go.
Okay. Okay.
Oh man.
All right. So here we go. All right. Now this entire community of Orang Asli Jakun,
Yep.
they are a group that live in different parts of the country, but this particular group is based in Pahang, which is about maybe a 4-hour drive, 4-hour drive from Singapore. And I went to stay with this community to document the trouble they're having with water. They don't have water. They do not have electricity. And they live in the periphery of the city, just before going into the jungles. So they're caught between a rock and a hard place. It's actually very, very difficult for them. So in this case, you can see this lady, and she is trying to get water. She has to walk 2 kilometers down to a little, it's not even a well. It's just an area where they collect water, groundwater. Now this water you cannot drink. You can't even bathe in it. It has to be filtered before you can actually drink it. So here she is, and she struggles so hard to carry this water with her up the hill. And that basket she's carrying with the 2 canisters of water is about 20 kilos. Wow. And she has to walk 2 kilometers up in very, very difficult terrain. And on a normal day, it's not too bad. But when it rains, it gets very, very slippery and very, very difficult for her to move.
And she's wearing slippers.
Yes,
Flip-flops.
it's tongs,
Wow.
yeah. Now, so part of the whole storytelling technique is to show real life situations. Now, in this picture, you will see, the next picture, you will see a child he's got very severe skin conditions, and his mother is actually applying coconut oil to his skin. And the reason they're having all these skin problems is because the groundwater is contaminated with pesticides and fertilizers, and that's gone into the ground. And whatever water that they take out, it cannot be consumed, or you can't even bathe with it. But I'll show you soon how some of these people live. They live in small communities like this. And this is a typical house that the government has built for them. It's just a concrete house. And again, it's very, very, they're not used to living in concrete houses. Right? These people have traditionally always lived in the jungles and they build their own bamboo homes. So this is something that they're not used to. So they don't really utilize the houses like we would normally utilize it. So they use it as a kitchen, or sometimes they use it as a place to sleep for the night.
Yep.
So now this next picture is a picture of a scene of how these women go walk another 2 kilometers down into a stagnant pond where they have where they bathe. And you can see this water is filthy. It is really, really very, very, very dirty. And children use it at like a swimming pool, and they bathe here. And it's not easy at all. And there are quite a few people who live in this area who have got no access to drinking water at all, no access to water to even wash themselves. Right? This is a makeshift kitchen, and you can see how, as a community, they cook and they try to feed all their families. Right?
And they're all living in under one roof. How many generations are there altogether in
Oh
this
man,
particular...
there's so many. There are so many of these people. Each community is maybe about 200 individuals.
200, and the government doesn't help them. I mean, there's very much a large community.
Yeah, this is the problem, isn't it? So a lot of their land has been taken away for development, and then you have many unscrupulous people who rob them of their lands, take their, fraudulently change the ownership of the land. And these things have been going on for a long time. So I started to focus on this community and talk about some of the problems they're having within this community. So you can see how they bathe in these areas. And then these pictures were taken with a Sigma. Oh yeah, with a Sigma FP. I think it's not the FP. No, this is not the FP. This was I think this was the DP0. Yeah. Okay, that's a typical. The next shot you can see is a very typical water hole from where all their water comes from. And when it rains, it becomes cloudy and dirty.
And this water it's contaminated, I suppose, from the groundwater that has run off.
Yes, so they have to take it out, they have to filter it, and this is a rubbish tip where a lot of these people actually live. They live here, they have been living here for the last 10 years. And again, talking about the purpose for photography like this to be done is to bring to attention the needs of these people. So after these pictures were published in the newspapers, they actually went there and helped these people.
Wow.
A lot of people went there to help them.
Excellent. So it drove people into action.
Exactly. So people need to see these pictures. I'm going to go through very quickly how children spend their time in these areas where it's like a playground for them.
Yep.
All right.
Oh, there's a lady in there.
Yep.
Wow.
This is just tons and tons of rubbish that's just thrown in.
And sorry,
Uh,
this rubbish, are they from local neighboring states? Or are
Exactly. Yeah. It's all from the community around. So again, what these pictures show you is that as a nation, not just Malaysia but everywhere, we've become very wasteful. We throw away things. We throw away so many things that can be reused, that can be repaired,
Yep.
and yet we keep throwing it away. And so we become a society of users, and we don't reuse, and that is very sad. That is very, very sad. And I'll show you some really shocking images. And you'd think, when I was here, I've traveled around Southeast Asia a lot, and I've seen pictures like this in places like the Philippines or Indonesia. I never expected to see it in Malaysia. So for me, it came as a shock to me that these people actually live this way. But there's a contrast. There are other villages nearby, also Orang Asli, who are not so badly affected. Like this gentleman here, he grows his own sireh. He's able to make a living. That's him with his wife. There's a slight delay in the pictures as they come out on Twitch.
Oh, don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. That's normal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
For Zoom, it's fine between us because it'll be transmitted
Okay,
over
alright.
anyway. Yeah.
And so I'm going to just keep shooting, keep moving on. Some portraits. So I spent almost 2 years going back and forth to try and document what was going on in this particular community.
Yep.
So I'm going to go back to this area where these people live in the rubbish tip. This is a different community, staying nearby but not too far away.
Okay.
And the beautiful children. So this is back to the community where they live in the rubbish tip. And to keep the mosquitoes away, they burn plastic. You see, again, all of this has got to do with lack of education.
Plastic is
So
bad.
water is a hugely scarce commodity here. You can see where every drop is really valuable. And children, they make everything a game of everything. Even this old discarded sofa, and they made it into a playground.
Maybe a bike or something.
Yeah. Very quickly, another way of entertaining themselves, they play cards. And that's the background is the rubbish tip.
Even so, they through this adversity, they still stick together with a very tightly knit
They have no
community.
one else.
Yeah.
Very quickly, look at this child, right in the middle. It is so stinky, and I used to stay there with them. Right, in part of the whole process of being a documentary photographer is trying to experience what it is that these people go through. So if you want to really understand, you have to stay with them and understand how they live. And I can tell you this, when you step into this rubbish tip, it's almost impossible to wash off any of that stink from you. You can smell it for days. For days. Imagine even a rubbish truck that you're following, all right? And your car goes over a puddle of this rubbish. Can you imagine? It stinks so bad. Now, these two children, they are cousins. They're 4 years old. They're only 4 years old. And they carry these big bags, they fill up, they recycle. They do recycling work.
Yeah.
Right? And they are both babies. And look at this child, the next picture. Look at this child and see what she has in her mouth. The child standing next to she's got a pacifier. These children are just 3 to 4 years old. And in this picture, this boy has just cut, she's just cut his leg on a piece of glass, right? And it's very, very depressing to see. Now, this boy is, the next picture, you can see he is in a pit. He's right inside the pit, and he's handling over bottles of plastic bottles up to his ankle.
Goodness.
Yeah, I know. It's really, really sad. But what are we going to do? As photographers, we have a responsibility. Our responsibility is to tell a story. I don't care what kind of photography or genre you're doing. Every time you take a picture, you're telling a story. So make every picture that you take count. It has to count. It has to have a purpose. Because if it doesn't have a purpose, you're wasting your time. You really are wasting your time. So this is the very desolate landscape that you see in these areas. These are landfills. So the message here is this. We have to help these people, and we have to throw away less. We need to try and use things a bit longer than we know, because generally we only have one planet. No matter what you do with your rubbish, it's going to go from one place to another place. It's not going to disappear. Just because it's out of sight, it doesn't mean it's not there. Which is why now you have countries like America and Australia putting their garbage in ships and sending it to third world countries so that it can be buried somewhere else, out of sight. But, it's not going anywhere. One piece of plastic cup will be there in the soil for 500 years. You cannot get rid of it. You can't. So recycling is important. Look at this old mattress. These kids have salvaged it. Look at the next image. These kids have salvaged it, and they've taken it, and they were able to sell it for $50. Sorry, have they lost?
No, it's good.
Feed?
It's good. Don't worry.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, don't have to worry about what's on your phone, because on my feed it's fine.
Oh, okay, all right, great. So again, communities that we need to help. We need to be able to tell their stories, and as a photographer, as a journalist, we have that responsibility to tell their stories, because they are voiceless without us. So being a photographer is a privilege. Being a photographer carries a big responsibility, right? So these are the things we have to do. Look at this child. This child is 1.5 years, and she spends all her day walking around in this rubbish tip. So how do we help these people? I mean, you have in Singapore, I've seen, actually I wanted to do a story about this a long time ago, but I never got around to. There are many people, very, very old, who struggle with life, and they don't have any means of supporting themselves. Their parents, their children don't live in Singapore anymore. But they live by themselves, and it's very, very difficult. I'd like to be able to go there and do a story, and about how they actually they survive from a day-to-day basis, because Singapore is not it's a very expensive country to live in right now. It's the most expensive country to live in Asia. So there must be some people who are making a lot of money and some people who are not. And I think being able to tell a story like that will be a powerful way of bringing some attention to the plight of some of the very old people who struggle to manage from day to day.
Yep.
Here's a story idea for some young Singapore photographer to do work on.
Yep, that's your mission right there.
Anyway, so here we go. These are beautiful, beautiful children who spend whose lives are wasted because they don't have the basic amenities. They don't have water. They don't have electricity, and it's really, really sad.
Yep.
Finally, I'll just show you some of the books I've done.
Mm-hmm.
These are some of the books I've done in, oops, a bit small.
Sorry.
This is a book I did in Thailand with 55 other photographers from around the world. So this was done, photographers from Magnum, photographers from National Geographic, and all of us got together. So every 5 years or so, we get together and do a book. So this was actually quite some time ago in 2006. We did Thailand. So people like, I'm sure there are many, if you look at this book, you'll find the names of quite a few photographers like for instance, Michael Yamashita, Steve McCurry, Abbas, and all the great people. They were all there photographing. So it was quite a privilege working with them and coming up with this book. This is another book that I did about food. I'm afraid all the images are really very small. Sorry about that.
No worries, no worries.
Yeah, again, some other publications. If you look at my website, you can actually see it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think just want to touch a little bit about your upcoming project with Sigma Japan
Yes.
and Bell Textron.
So this is right. Okay, this is a fascinating project that we're working on. What we're doing is very briefly. I can't tell you too much.
Oh.
If not, they will kill me. But really, yeah, they'll throw me off the helicopter. But what we're doing is groundbreaking work. And it's really, all I can say is it's going to unite Southeast Asia in a way, in a visual way, and it's going to be really, really good for all of us as a nation of 10 countries and ASEAN. And it has to do with our seas, with our oceans, which is fascinating because if you look at, I'll just give you a hint, if you look at the word Nusantara, it's actually very fascinating. It's about all these areas that bind us, that all these areas that all the way from Indonesia to Taiwan.
Wow.
There's so many areas that bind us as a nation of 10 countries. And I have always found that Southeast Asia has got so much to offer to the rest of the world. And so this book that we're doing, which is going to be a book, and this and Sigma has been so kind to support this this project by giving me all this equipment to use, and of course Bell helicopters who have so kindly going to be ferrying me around in different parts of Southeast Asia to do this project.
Wow.
So the details of which I can't divulge right now because two things. One is because of the pandemic right now, we can't really, we don't really know exactly how long it's going to take us. It's estimated about 3 years. This book is at least going to be 3 years. And where exactly, when, again, things that we have to also discuss later.
Understand.
So halfway through the project, I will definitely get back on your show and talk to you about it.
Fantastic. I was just about to ask you for that because this is something
Yes.
that I would love to be a part of because I would love to have you back on the show again to share more about what you've done so far.
Oh, fantastic. I would like to take you up with me on the helicopter. It would be fantastic.
Wow.
I think you should see for yourself.
Yes, yes, I'll be delighted too.
Yeah, that'll be
Yep,
great.
brilliant,
In
brilliant.
fact, Wesley is going to come along as well.
Ah, okay, fantastic. It'll be like a all bros outing on a flight then.
Yes.
Okay, Shekar, just out of curiosity, could you just share your website because someone was asking about your website previously?
Okay, it's basically www.
Oh no, it's in a share on your screen.
Oh, okay.
And just
let
walk
me just
through
log
so
on.
that people can see where they can reach out to you and contact you directly.
Okay, but I must warn you though
Yeah.
that this website is so old and it needs to be updated.
It's evergreen, don't worry. It's okay. Okay, so scshekar.com. Okay, so I'm gonna put the link here in the chat window on Twitch as well. So for those of you guys, for those of you guys who want to check out the website later on, you can take a look. Previously, before the show started, I actually shared a little bit about how your website is like. But let's say, for example, if you want to purchase any of Shekar's books, I think it's under.
You can look at. One of the books that you can look at, which we have here, is under Grit and Grace.
Yep.
There's another one that says publications, so you can actually see. But Grit and Grace is the other book you can actually see.
Yep.
I'm not sure. Can you see the screen?
Yes, we can see.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, there you go.
Yep.
So
Fantastic.
it talks about you can actually buy it online as well. But it's better that you contact me so that we can send the book to you. The book is huge. It's 6 kilos.
6
It's
kilos.
a huge book.
Wow.
330 pages, 6 kilos. And the book has gone around the entire world.
Fantastic.
It's an amazing book.
Right. So Shekar, that was a very insightful share. I mean, the past 2.5 hours has been nothing short of
thank
amazing.
you. My God, has it been so long?
Yes.
Sorry.
It's like we're having a nice chat over coffee, and we're like good old friends sharing with the world what your thoughts on photography are.
I'm so glad that you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for having me.
And just as a parting gift, if you may, do you have any advice to the audience? I mean, you've been giving a lot of wonderful advice. I have. Wow, I lost count, to be honest. How many words of wisdom you shared with us this evening?
Right.
But for those people aspiring to become professionals like yourself, doing all these projects and all that, what is one key advice, if you have any, to share with them?
Well, keep trying all the time. Keep trying different genres of photography, and understand that no matter what kind of genre you're in, whether it's documentary photography, whether it's street photography, whether it's architecture, there's only 2 things that you need to have. You need to have respect and you need to have empathy. Empathy and respect will take you a long way.
Yep.
Now, what do I mean by this? When you're photographing anyone, have empathy. Understand how it is they're feeling. And your pictures will speak so much more, will have so much more feeling if you have that feeling when you take these pictures. And respect for everything that you photograph. Whether it's the rainforest or whether it's a beautiful building. And all that will actually show up in your images. It will. And of course, like I said earlier also, always try and understand if you're going to be doing architectural photography, for instance, read about the lives of these great architects. Read about building materials. You have to read a lot. That's very, very important. Absorb all you can. I mean, there's so much for us to learn. And as a photographer, you're blessed because you have the gift. You have the gift of visualizing for people who can't, who struggle with that. So as a photographer, you have a gift. You use that gift and give back to society. That's very important.
Brilliant.
Right?
Very well said. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That's just amazing. And I just want to share something with you. The more I research about your work and looking through some of the images, in fact, some of the images you shared tonight, it just made me realize that the world has so much to offer to us all, not just to photographers, but to everyone and everything, every creature that's living and breathing on this planet. And we as photographers, like just what you shared with your aerial photography, with your documentary of your shots in Myanmar and parts of Malaysia which I never thought existed, with all the orang jakun and the orang asli. it just shows that no matter how much you've done with photography, you only manage to catch a fleeting glance of what the world has to offer.
Right.
And I would like to thank you personally for being the one, a very instrumental person in a person who's very instrumental in letting us have more than just a glimpse, to actually let us see and immerse ourselves in things that we don't normally know about. I think that,
Right.
yeah, that's something.
Thank you
So-
so much. You're most welcome.
Yeah,
And
thank
really,
you.
also have to thank Sigma, Japan, Sigma, Singapore, Malaysia,
Yep.
and of course, all the people who made this program possible. And I think I'm always going to be very grateful for all the things that you've done, because again, you're bringing the photography community together, and that is worth so much.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Great.
Yeah,
Thanks a lot.
It's a pleasure. Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right.
Okay, guys, that's Shekar for you. All right, it's Ludo Photo. Thank you for following. I saw your follow just now. Sorry, I didn't say earlier. Lagging Boy, thank you for following as well. Little Boy has said that this interview was so inspiring. We just made Twitch a lot better today. Yeah, actually it's
Okay,
kind of interesting
great.
because Twitch is primarily a gaming platform for streaming, but
Right.
I'm a bit different.
Right.
And I'm so
Yeah.
glad that you agreed to come onto my show. Thank you so much.
No,
Thank
no,
you.
I'm most honored. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, so do take care of yourself. I'll speak to you again another time. Yeah.
All right.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Take care. Take
Bye
care.
bye.
Bye bye. Okay. Right, guys, that was a very inspiring session featuring Shekar from Malaysia. This, I I have nothing to say. This is a brilliant episode. It's probably, to be honest, one of my most favorite episodes ever. All right, so in any case, I just want to give a little bit of shout out to the Professional Photographers Association Singapore. So for those people who are watching right now and you're based in Singapore and you want to be a part of a community and association, the PPS is definitely the one that you need to join. Okay, so be with us. We have a lot of professionals under one roof, and together with one louder singular voice, we can make a difference in the photography community and industry in Singapore. And I just want to share with you guys a little bit about what the PPS offers, other than the fact that we've been working together with the community at large. We've also been talking to various government bodies to enable a better life for photographers, especially the professionals who may have fallen through the cracks or have a lot of difficulty during this crazy period, during the pandemic period. So one of the things that the committee members have come up with, committee members such as Eugene, Aaron, James, Kenneth, who else did I miss? Myself. Okay, we actually, I mean, most of them actually, I was there just to assist. Did I miss anyone else? Oh goodness, let me kind of have a brain fart, because to be honest, that the previous episode was quite something. UK, yes, UK also. They've painstakingly worked together to come up with advice from our President Emeritus, Sebastian, to come up with a brilliant resource package for COVID-19. So right now, as you know, because of the pandemic, a lot of businesses have been put on hold. But as of 19th of June, thanks to phase 2 of the circuit breaker, we photographers are allowed to get back in the saddle and start shooting again. But of course, working in a studio can present a little bit of challenge right now because of the pandemic. So the PPS committee members have actually come up with a quick guide for safe photography production during COVID-19, as well as safety protocol guidelines that you can follow. And this is very important because only through following this, then you'll be assured that your stakeholders, your photography will go smoothly. Your stakeholders, your makeup artists, your models, your crew members, your assistant at Digitech, whoever works with you in that particular production will remain safe and covered. And it's very important that we follow this because we do not want to have any studios or any breakout of a new COVID cluster in a studio or any place of photo shoots, especially for those people who shoot on location. Best to keep yourself safe. Follow this. I'm just going to share the link here in the chat window as well, so you can follow those and take a look at that at your own time. There's quite a lot to swallow, but it's very important stuff, especially for those people who are working on a daily basis. Okay, keep yourself safe, make sure everything's okay, and don't be part of the problem. All right, we've worked on a solution. Please work on this, cooperate with the PPS at least, and hopefully everything will be smooth. Okay, I mean cooperate with the PPS in terms of the resource guidelines, yeah, the safety guidelines. The other thing is, of course, I just want to share James' brainchild here. This is the photography business calculator, and I really love it because this actually really helped me my own photography business. Okay, because right now one of the key things about photography is trying to figure out your self-worth, trying to figure out how much you should charge your clients, and most importantly, how to make sure your business is sustainable. Right, the key thing about businesses is that it must keep afloat, especially during these crazy times where the pandemic has affected most of us. Doesn't matter whether you're in the photography industry, you can be in anything else, you'll still be affected because a lot of jobs can be cancelled or work can be affected, and things just happen. So here is the business calculator that allows you to work out how much you should be charging, and at the same time how much you should be paying attention to in terms of expenditure and your monthly business expenses to make sure your business stays afloat. And this is very important, so do check it out as well. And if you want to join as members, you can actually click on the join button over here. Okay, there we go. All right, so you can actually see the benefits of being a member. There's so much you can. To be honest, before I joined the PPS, I was like a lost child, and now that I'm part of PPS, I'm very proud to say that I've learned so much, especially from the old birds. Okay, the Lao Chiao, the senior members. They are very, very passionate about photography, and most importantly is that they are responsible for sharing with me the knowledge that I have been missing for far too long, and wish that I had known before I even picked up the camera in the first place. Okay, so do check this out as well. And of course, there are articles that you can read on your own time about how to become a better photographer, how to shoot portraits. With Adrian Lowe's, he's got this wonderful article here. Memoirs of a Madman is another article that I love to read as well. From time to time, I still come back and read. I don't know why. It's just nice to keep yourself entertained and understand how other photographers work as well. And this is a shout out to some assistants as well, the unsung heroes of commercial photography. For those people who shoot commercial photography, you probably realize that a lot of times we photographers just cannot do things on our own, and we depend on these wonderful heroes called the assistants or crew or even digital techs to make sure that the shoot goes on smoothly. Alright, so what's coming up next for the Amazing Life show? Coming up in episode 44, we're gonna have this gentleman here. Oops, wrong button. There we go, cleaner. Okay, we're gonna have Mario Om from Mexico. Okay, this guy here is a talented individual. He is featured in multiple publications all over, and he's been approached by Adobe so many times to come up with material for them, because he is not just a designer, but he's also a programmer and a wonderful digital artist who has created wonderful plugins for Photoshop. And yeah, do join us on the 1st of August 2020 at 5 p.m. Singapore time on Saturday. So this is the channel to be. If you have not followed, again, hit the follow subscribe button on the top right hand of the screen right now. And if you want to show support for the Twitch stream, please use the QR code to great effect by using your camera phone on it. And then after that, head over to Razer Tip stream, buy Razer Shots through Razer Gold, and show your support through the stream. But otherwise, it's okay. No pressure. I'm very, very contented if you actually hit the follow subscribe button, or even better yet, do share this channel with other people so I can keep this channel going. It's a self-funded project. It's a personal project of mine that somehow has evolved to what it is today, and it's still ongoing. I have a lot of exciting projects coming out with regards to the channel. I'm thinking of doing capture one tutorials again in between episodes, and this is something I love for you guys to come on board and join me as well on, I won't say a daily basis yet, but let's see how it goes, okay? Because I also need to sleep and have a life and things like that. Alright, so, and with that, thank you so much for joining me thank you so much for the follow, Distortion TTV. Thank you. Yeah, so thank you so much once again for joining me this evening. Again, as always, for those of you guys who have just joined us for the first time,
Link established.
Friday has just shared with you the schedule for the show. I'm always live on every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Singapore time and every Saturday at 5 p.m. Singapore time. So follow, subscribe, bookmark, tell your friends, tell your pet hamster and cats and dogs, tell them that we have this wonderful channel that's ongoing, and I'm not earning anything from it, to be honest. It's really a personal project. So I'm really hoping that tips and donations come my way. But otherwise, I'm just glad for you to be here to have your support. All right, so I'll see you guys on Saturday. Take care of yourself. Stay safe. Bye bye.
Come with me, and you'll be in a world of pure imagination. Take a look, and you'll see into your imagination. We'll begin with a spin, traveling in the world of my creation. What we'll see will defy explanation.
On 3, 1, 2.